And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's keep going with so many more of these top political headlines. So back out to Illinois. This was the message from Governor J.B. Pritzker. He says Donald Trump is trying to cheat the system in Texas, but these Democratic legislators refuse to let it happen without a fight. Their fight is our fight, saying, I'm proud to stand side by side with them as they protect their constituents there. In the meantime, let's bring into the conversation still such a great stable, a great crop of so many of these political reporters that you should follow who are covering so many of these political headlines each and every day. That's, of course, Meg Kinnard at the Associated Press. She joins me. Meg, good to see you here. So I just showed our viewers that tweet there from Governor Pritzker of Illinois. I was asking our previous guest, how much of the 2028 Democratic presidential primary is imbued in this Texas fight, do you think?
Hey, Andrew, it's always really good to be with you. You're exactly right. There is always another campaign on the horizon. There's always another presidential race that a lot of people might not be thinking about it, but people like you and me have to be. And that's exactly what we're seeing play out in terms of what's going on with Texas and these national level, high level, potential and probable White House contenders on the Democratic side of things, using it as an opportunity to really show that they are supportive of their own party's efforts in these various places. It's no accident that J.B. Pritzker is getting involved. It's also, I think, no accident that you're seeing California Governor Gavin Newsom having made statements of his own about redistricting in his state. And then, of course, as you just noted, the updates coming there. So it's unknown if this will continue to play out, but especially in these states with Democratic governors and Democratic governors who might be looking to seek a promotion, so to speak, in running for president in 28, it's only natural that this is kind of the latest time hook for them to really get involved, to get their names out there, and also from their point of view to be advocating for strengthening their party's numbers in Congress. So I don't think it's a big surprise, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see if it's adopted in other places.
Yeah, I mean, Meg, we know redistricting, like, in and of itself is partisan. It just is. One party wants more House seats. The other party wants more House seats. That's how it goes. You've covered a lot of these redistricting fights in so many states. Have you ever seen the issue ratchet up to the level where it is now in Texas?
It does seem like this is a little bit of a next level sort of conversation. Yeah. What we're seeing here with lawmakers literally leaving their state and going somewhere else. However you want to characterize it, whether they're, I saw reported somewhere seeking refuge. I think that's probably a little bit strong, but certainly getting themselves outside of the realm and the reach of the state level machinations that the governor in Texas has to try to bring them back. They're outside the state, they're outside his jurisdiction. And so that gets them what they need in terms of avoiding being called back and forced to participate in the votes in the Texas legislature. So it does seem that as we continue to be in a very partisan, ratcheted up environment, politically speaking, that this is what's happening. And I'm not trying to, blow things out of proportion. I mean, this does really feel like this is kind of a next level. But as you noted at the top, this is all politics underneath so much of this. And so I think it's important for us to keep that in mind when we're thinking about what's really at play. Yes, these are congressional seats, but it is also an opportunity for leaders in both parties, for President Trump and what he has said he would like to see in Texas, and also the potential Democrats who might be looking to angle to succeed him in 2028, making sure that they keep their names part of the conversation too.
Meg, we brought you on because we want to talk about South Carolina. We have a live picture there. Take a look at this. I think this is over Columbia there. And I'm going to say it. You are kind of the dean of the political press corps there in the Palmetto State. You cover South Carolina. You're based there. And you have been following this announcement by Congresswoman Nancy Mace, the Republican. She's running for governor. You want to put up this tweet that you posted there. I think this was last night. You said the special announcement comes tomorrow, but you see there her logo yesterday switched from Congress to governor here. What's Nancy Mace's play here? What's her platform she's going to run? I mean, South Carolina, correct me if I'm wrong, they've had a Republican governor for what, 2 terms?
Oh, way more longer than that. The last time that South Carolina elected a Democrat as governor was in 1998. Okay. So it goes back a lot further in terms of how long Republicans have been in control of the governor's mansion in Columbia. And it's going to be a very crowded primary. This is really the first truly open race for governor that South Carolina has had in a very long time. So it's expected that we were going to be seeing a lot of Republicans vying for the nomination. For Nancy Mace, she is seeking to carve out for herself a space of a couple of different things. Today and previously in interviews with me, she's laid out a multi-pronged approach that centers a lot around strengthening criminal justice and law enforcement, protecting women and children, several different economic related policies, one of which taking income tax down to zero over a number of years as she lays out in a plan, and strengthening the state's energy infrastructure. So she has already kind of signaled a lot of platform areas where she would like to go. But Nancy Mace has also said very plainly that she sees herself as the candidate on the Republican side who best represents and has a proven track record of standing for policies already adopted and supported by President Donald Trump. This is a primary where at least 3 of the Republican contenders, Nancy Mace included, have already aligned themselves with Trump, said they'll be seeking his endorsement, and are trying to make that argument to South Carolina primary voters that they are the candidate that best represents where he is trying to take the nation, and they would like to bring those policies home to South Carolina. Yet to be known if he will get involved or if he does, on behalf of whom. But certainly, in terms of all of those policies that I just mentioned, and also the Trump factor, that is certainly a place where Nancy Mace is trying to carve out her own spot in this crowded race. She has said that her whole theme for this campaign is going to be South Carolina first. Some other messaging that she's been rolling out on social media throughout recent weeks is hold the line. She says that she will draw the line of where, she wants to protect South Carolina, and she will hold it. And, kind of like talking about some of the other challenges that she's faced and some other legal situations in which she is involved, it's kind of like she is portraying herself in a way somewhat similar to how Donald Trump did in the 2024 campaign, saying that I am fielding this criticism. People are coming at me because of policies that I support that they don't like, but I'm standing in all of their way to protect you, South Carolinians. That's similar messaging to what we heard from Donald Trump when he was facing his various legal cases during the 24 campaign. And he used the messaging of, they're coming after you, I'm just standing in their way. And so that is a little bit similar, again, in trying to kind of maybe remind voters a little bit of that in her own messaging, but also getting that across that she sees herself as best standing for South Carolina's interests, regardless of who is coming at her on the other side.
Yeah, and obviously it's well documented. You've done a lot of reporting on this, that, the Trump-Mace relationship was rocky at certain points, especially in the wake of the January 6th, 2021 Capitol riot. They've patched things up since, obviously. But Mace hasn't been in the House on Capitol Hill for very long. Do some in the state think her run for the governorship is premature?
There has been some criticism that, why would Nancy Mace want to leave Congress? She has been getting some things done there. She is carving out her own lane. She has a big presence on social media, which she utilizes to advocate for and against positions that she either supports or thinks are the wrong idea. And so I have gotten questions from people, why would she do this? Why doesn't she just stay in the House and either go for a leadership position or continue to strongly represent her viewpoints there? But I think that, in a situation like in South Carolina, where this is the first open opportunity for a governor's race, it's just, like I said before, it's just not a big surprise that we would see a crowded field. And I think given her status, given the ways that she argues that she has already been successful and had been able to advocate for her constituents in the first district, for Nancy Mace, she now says she wants to take that across the state. This is what South Carolina needs. Governor McMaster, when he leaves office, will be the longest serving governor in 10 years total is his service. And so at this point, she sees herself as the next generation of leader to build on some things, but also take the state to the next level. And let's not forget, she's run for Senate before. And so it's not really a huge surprise either that she might have her eyes trained on a different office, because that is something that she sought in the past.
Yeah, I guess, for a ruby red state like South Carolina, I'm just kind of wondering, how do Republicans differentiate themselves in primaries? I mean, have we seen, or maybe it's too early, a coalescing of sorts around a front runner, or is it too early?
I think it's far too early. The fact that I've already covered several gubernatorial launches in the middle of 2025, talking about a primary that's not until June of 2026, it is very early. But when you look at the GOP field as it is beginning to form, we have Nancy Mace that we've talked about. There's also the Lieutenant Governor, Pamela Evette, and the Attorney General, Alan Wilson. And among many Republicans, they would see those two as more of the establishment wing. Now, both candidates, I should note, have said that they plan to seek President Trump's endorsement and have been supportive of him during his time in office. But they still come from more of what South Carolina has had in leadership. Wilson has served several terms as Attorney General, and Pamela Evette has been the Lieutenant Governor to Governor Henry McMaster since they were elected on the same ticket in 2018. And so they do represent kind of where the state has been going, at least on a statewide elected level. There's also Congressman Ralph Norman, who represents the 5th District, who's been in the House for quite some time and is a little bit differently aligned. He supported Governor Nikki Haley during her presidential run. He's been a member of the House Freedom Caucus and is seen as one of the most conservative members of the U.S. House. And so, yes, when you look at South Carolina, which on a statewide basis is considered a very safe Republican state, then you end up just having very different kinds of opinions in terms of what Republicans look like, what parts of the state they represent, what issues are important. I think whenever I cover, especially presidential primaries in South Carolina and other places, but particularly in my home state, making sure not to portray any group of voters who tend to support the same party, to portray them as all having the same issues that are important to them. And so when you really break it down on that sort of granular level and start talking to voters at events, I think that's when we'll really get a good sense of where the electorate is and what they want to see. There have barely been any events yet because all of these campaigns are really just getting underway. So I think it will take us a couple of months to kind of see where people are.
All right. Meg Kinnard there at the Associated Press. Meg, always good to see you. Great reporting. Talk soon.
Thank you. You got it.